Imagine finding the love of your life, someone who promises to stand by your side during the toughest times. But what if, gradually, that love turns into a silent prison? Have you ever felt suffocated by someone who was supposed to protect you? What if jealousy starts to erode the trust you built together? This is the story of a dedicated doctor whose perfect life was destroyed by her husband's pathological jealousy. A tale of control, despair, and a desperate quest for freedom. How can a loving relationship turn into an absolute nightmare? In this video, we will tell the story of how jealousy can transform love into captivity, revealing the dark secrets that can destroy lives. Prepare yourself for an emotional and reflective journey about stolen freedom and the fight for hope. But first, I would like to ask you to subscribe to our channel to receive more stories like this. Now, let's dive into all the details of this story. What would you do if the person who was supposed to protect you became your greatest threat? Emma was a talented doctor, known for her dedication and skill in saving lives. She met Michael, a successful businessman, at a medical conference. From the beginning, their connection was instant. They fell in love quickly, and their relationship blossomed amid promises of a bright future. Michael was caring and attentive, always supporting Emma in her demanding career. They got married in an intimate ceremony, surrounded by close friends and family, vowing eternal love. At first, married life was like a dream. Emma and Michael shared moments of joy and companionship. They enjoyed traveling together, exploring new places, and experiencing new adventures. Their nights were filled with long conversations and laughter as they planned a future together. Michael seemed to be the perfect partner, always present and willing to help. However, as time went on, small cracks began to appear. Michael, once confident and secure, started showing signs of insecurity. He asked subtle questions about Emma's colleagues, showing an exaggerated interest in her daily interactions. Initially, Emma didn't give much importance to these questions, considering them a sign of care and concern. As the months passed, Michael's behavior became more possessive. He started showing up at the hospital unexpectedly, claiming he wanted to take Emma to lunch. At first, Emma appreciated these gestures, but soon realized they were more frequent than normal. Michael also began questioning Emma's schedules, insisting on knowing specific details about her meetings and commitments. The situation worsened when Michael started monitoring Emma's phone. He justified it by saying it was for security, but Emma knew something was wrong. He would get upset if she didn't answer his calls immediately or took too long to respond to messages. The love that once united them began to transform into a silent prison, with Michael exerting more and more control over Emma's life. Despite Michael's behavior, Emma continued to love him and believed he would change. She tried to justify his actions, thinking that maybe he was going through a difficult period. However, things only got worse. Michael began making unfounded accusations, suggesting that Emma was being unfaithful. He became verbally aggressive, undermining her self-confidence and creating an atmosphere of constant tension. The relationship that was once full of love and promises began to unravel. Emma felt increasingly isolated, trapped in a web of control and mistrust. The freedom she once had was slowly stolen, replaced by emotional captivity imposed by someone she thought was her lifelong companion. Emma tried to resist this invasion of privacy, but Michael became increasingly insistent and threatening. He installed monitoring apps on her phone without her knowledge, tracking her calls and messages. Michael also forbade Emma from meeting friends without his presence. He claimed these friends had bad intentions and were trying to drive them apart. Emma, once social and full of life, began to isolate herself, fearing Michael's reprisals. Every meeting with friends or colleagues became a minefield, with Emma trying to avoid any situation that might trigger her husband's anger. Emma's finances were also tightly controlled. Michael insisted on managing the couple's money, claiming he was doing it for their own good. Emma lost her financial freedom and found herself having to ask for permission to make purchases or spend on personal needs. This financial control was yet another link in the chain Michael used to imprison her. The situation reached a critical point when Michael began threatening Emma physically. He never actually hurt her, but the threats were always present, hanging over her like a constant shadow. Emma lived in a state of continuous alert, never knowing when Michael would explode again. She felt suffocated, trapped in a cycle of control and manipulation that seemed endless. Emma and Michael's relationship, once full of promises and love, had turned into a nightmare. Emma knew something needed to change, but she was terrified of the possible consequences of any action she might take. Michael's jealousy had not only destroyed the trust between them, but also robbed Emma of her freedom and peace of mind. The tension between Emma and Michael reached a breaking point on a rainy winter night. Emma had spent the entire day at the hospital, dealing with an emergency that kept her busy until late at night. When she finally came home, exhausted and longing for a restful night, she found Michael waiting for her in the living room. His gaze was cold and full of suspicion. "You think you can deceive me?" Michael shouted, his face twisted with anger. Emma tried to explain the situation, but her words were cut off by an outburst of fury. Michael accused her of lying, of having an affair with a coworker. He was out of control, and Emma felt a profound fear she had never felt before. In a fit of rage, Michael grabbed Emma's arm and dragged her to the bedroom. He locked the door and threw the key out the window, making it clear that he would not let her leave until she confessed to an infidelity she had not committed. Emma tried to calm Michael down, but he was deaf to her pleas, consumed by irrational paranoia. Trapped in the bedroom, Emma felt a wave of panic. The walls seemed to close in around her, and the reality of her situation hit her with full force. She was being held prisoner in her own home by the man who had once vowed to love and protect her. Desperate, Emma looked for a way to escape, but all her attempts were thwarted by Michael, who refused to leave her alone for a second. The following days were a torment for Emma. Michael continued to keep a constant watch over her, his suspicions fueled by her every move. He became increasingly controlling, further restricting her freedoms. Emma couldn't make phone calls without him being present, and her interactions with the outside world were rigidly monitored. Emma's mental health began to deteriorate under the weight of isolation and psychological abuse. She felt like a prisoner, with no hope of rescue. Michael, on the other hand, became more and more obsessed with uncovering a non-existent betrayal, his jealous delusions feeding a spiral of emotional violence. The situation finally changed when one of Emma's co-workers, concerned about her sudden disappearance, decided to investigate. He tried to contact her several times, but his messages and calls were either ignored or vaguely answered by Michael. Suspecting something was wrong, he decided to visit Emma's house. When he arrived, he found Michael alone. Pretending he was just there to drop off some documents, he managed to speak briefly with Emma while Michael was distracted. The desperation in her eyes was enough to confirm his suspicions. He promised to help her and left discreetly, fearing to provoke a violent reaction from Michael. Shortly after, the police arrived at the house. Using a combination of persuasion and the threat of force, they managed to get Michael to open the bedroom door. Emma, weak and emotionally exhausted, was finally freed from her captivity. However, in a desperate act, Michael confronted the police. He resisted arrest, shouting threats and attempting to escape. During the confusion, he managed to flee, disappearing into the dark night. The following days were a true nightmare for Emma. Michael was on the run, but continued to threaten her. He sent terrifying text messages and left voicemail, promising to find her and kill her. Emma lived in constant fear, protected by the police but knowing Michael was lurking. She was taken to a safe location, where she received emotional and psychological support to help her recover from the trauma. The experience left deep scars, but also taught her the value of freedom and the importance of seeking help when in danger. After an intense manhunt that lasted several days, the police finally located Michael hiding in an abandoned cabin outside the city. He was arrested after a brief shootout, without serious injuries. Michael was taken into custody, his gaze lost as the officers escorted him out of the cabin. The threat hanging over Emma had finally been eliminated. After Michael's capture, Emma was finally able to start rebuilding her life. The support she received from friends, family, and mental health professionals was crucial to her recovery. Emma moved to a new city, in a safe environment away from the shadows of her past. Gradually, she began to resume her medical career, finding strength in her work and in the patients she helped daily. She also started participating in support groups for abuse victims, where she found comfort and solidarity among people who had gone through similar experiences. Emma and Michael's story serves as a powerful reminder of the dangers of pathological jealousy. When taken to the extreme, jealousy can transform love into control and abuse, destroying lives and relationships. Emma reflected on how small signs of possessiveness can evolve into destructive behaviors, and how it is essential to recognize and act on these signs before it is too late. Emma also realized the importance of openly discussing emotional and psychological abuse. Often victims feel ashamed or guilty, which prevents them from seeking help. Emma's experience highlighted the need for awareness and education on these issues so that more people can identify and escape abusive situations. Through her journey, Emma learned the value of relationships based on trust, respect, and mutual support. She began to understand that true love does not imply control or possessiveness, but rather freedom and mutual growth. Healthy relationships are those where both partners feel safe, valued, and free to be themselves. Emma now uses her story to inspire others, speaking at conferences and participating in awareness campaigns about domestic abuse. She believes that by sharing her experience, she can help prevent others from going through what she did, promoting the building of healthy and abuse-free relationships. Emma's journey is a testament to human resilience and the ability to find hope and strength, even in the most difficult circumstances. Her story reminds us that no one should live in a relationship where control and jealousy replace love and respect. If you or someone you know is going through something similar, know that seeking help is the first step to freedom. Emma found the courage to break free and rebuild her life, and so can you. Freedom is a fundamental right, and everyone deserves to live without fear and in safety. If you found this story impactful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Share this video so more people can learn about the dangers of pathological jealousy and the importance of healthy relationships. Together, we can help build a world where love and respect prevail over control and abuse. If you enjoyed this story, be sure to check out our video, "He Left Me But 15 Years Later Found Out We Had a Child." It's an emotional tale of reunions and revealed secrets that will touch your heart. It's appearing on your screen now. Just click to be directed to it. See you there.